I think in your Jason Bourne journey over here in Cyprus, like if anybody here can tell me where Cyprus is exactly, I think, is it the Mediterranean? Where is it exactly?
It's yes. Well, is it the Mediterranean? Yes.
Yeah, okay. The Mediterranean. It's right near like Turkey.
Yeah,
it's off of Turkey.
Yeah, off the coast.
I hope you know you were there.
Well, I played Algarve Cup. Originally used to be played in Cyprus, so we actually went there and played as the national team once.
Oh wow!
Very nice.
This is before you were born.
So this is how do you pronounce the name? Is it Apollon?
Apollon, yeah, I think
Apollon.
That's how I pronounced it. So.
So and this is Apollon versus Kharkiv, which I think is from Ukraine. Yeah. This is in the 52nd minute. We're going to kind of walk through this here right here, but Irina Kochevna dribbles in towards the edge of 18 and plays a through ball to Yulia Shevnuk in the channel, who plays a cross ball in towards. Oh, look at that clean hold by Audrey right there. And then see the hand gesture. We're talking about that those nonverbal cues right there. Let's kind of walk through this right here, and let's kind of see what you were thinking. First off, in the moment, obviously this is a high level. This is Champions League, right? You're playing right here. Okay.
Yeah.
This is Champions League, so you can't get really any higher than that. So as this ball is being dribbled right here, we always talk, Saskia, obviously about when the ball's outside the 18. This is when you do your organization. This is when you do it. Once it starts getting in closer towards the 18, you're done with. So what are you thinking right here, Audrey?
I mean, the first thing I'm sure I said was the back post. That's where I always check first, because no one is really ever looking, especially in a 4-back, because they tend to come really close in thinking that they need to if the ball's all the way on the flank. So the first thing I always look is the back post. And then I always tell my center back to be touch tight. And it looks like, I think it's Julia that's in the back. She puts her arm out immediately. So I just feel like that was always a communication that, especially with this team, that I liked, because they were all American in the back. But as soon as I would say something, they would either nod to me or they would point to know exactly that I was speaking to them. So they knew it was really good that we both could go back and forth with that.
Yeah, so then, and on what you were saying, Mike, is that, you've got to get the organization done early, quick, bullet point, and then once it becomes in, you have to focus on your task at hand.
Yes.
And I've had that, and I told you I've had that in where goalkeeper's still organizing and the ball's basically in the back of the net. Yeah. And I'm like, why are you still pointing and organizing? The ball's in the back of the net now. You've got to stop at a certain point and focus on the task at hand.
I had a really bad habit of doing that. And I think a lot of that was me putting the responsibility on somebody else as opposed to me. And so if subconsciously, if I'm communicating right now, well, then if anything happens, it's not on me, it's on them. We're learning a lot about me today. This is very concerning. Very concerning.
It is true though. Especially when I was on weaker teams, in Kosovo, for example, I felt the need to over communicate because they didn't really know when you're playing these higher level teams, what to do. So I felt the need, because I knew what they were supposed to do. I just felt the need to always talk. And during the preseason when we were training, the goalkeeper coach was like, you don't need to change your game so much. You need to focus on you as well. That's why they brought you in. If you're coaching too much on the field, you can't do what you're going to do. And I do catch myself doing that sometimes, at least always in the preseasons. I feel the need and I can't focus as fast. And then as it goes on, then you always are able to kind of fade it out and just focus on what you're doing.
Yeah. And sometimes they'll just start tuning you out.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
So now I got a question. So now, once she gets into this wide channel right here, and she's got the ball, I think this is Shevnuk right here. What's now going through your head right here? And because it looks like they're pretty organized in the back right there. That looks pretty solid right there.
Yeah, I can tell I'm pointing. I always point. I don't like it so much. If I could take that habit out, I wouldn't point so much, especially when I'm this close to the goal. But I'm definitely making sure that my girls are there. And then I'm probably checking if there's someone coming in and then just waiting for the cross at that point would be my guess.
Yeah. And then when the cross comes in right here, I think, the language, see, here's another thing. We were talking about nonverbal language, the way that you come out for this ball. And then I noticed that your player gets out of the way when you go in and attack the ball.
Yeah.
So that's kind of
she actually picks the player against her.
Yeah.
Which is great defensively.
Yeah.
Like, look, she's actually picking that player. Like, how many people don't do that? Like,
yeah, exactly. Oh my gosh. They were actually really good at it because, I mean, we had a very good bond in the back. Like I said, because we were all American as well. It's a little bit easier, but me yelling keeper, they knew I'm going to come out if I'm yelling that it's mine. And for 100%, that's Julia Lester. But they knew then. Yeah, they knew that that's exactly what that was. Their next move was
to give you the lane. Yeah.
Yeah. Just by saying keeper, they knew exactly that I was coming, and now their job was to protect that player and protect me on if I drop it or anything. They knew that was going to be theirs.
Yeah. So I want to bring this up right here because I think a lot of young goalkeepers need to see this. This isn't the final action. The final action isn't the ball in your hands from a communication standpoint. The final action is here, where you're now. And you can see it, the gesture right there. And then you can even see on the close-up right there that you're basically dictating the tempo of the game. I think a lot of young goalkeepers need to see that because a lot of them, they go by the tempo of their team as opposed to what they think based on the picture they're seeing from scanning on what's the right decision.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, like we see everything, like we said, and they can call for it all they want. But in the end,
Hey, Saskia
What's
Weber.
going on, mister?
How are you?
I am good. So I'm scanning the union, but it's pretty much, it's just picking up.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, like we see everything, like we said, and
what we're doing.
Yeah, that's exactly what we're supposed to be doing.
Yeah, I know. But if somebody chimes in on the, I'll see. I'll let you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hey, do you like my jacket?
Wow, very cool. I love it.
Trying to get my swag on, show it to the young ladies.
I love it. I love it. I love it. Very cool.
What's amazing about this is that, I know we are live, but not live, but it's our first youth program.
Yeah, we've had a couple of youth players on before, but we've never broken down their film or anything like that or really discussed it. They were on more for like social impact purposes, those sorts of things. Like we had Anna on to discuss, in regards to the work that she was doing with her, Keep the Game Beautiful. And then we had, Aubrey McGlynn on in regards to talking about, dysautonomia and, dealing with the challenges of the condition and all that sort of thing. But this is the first time, like something that's very relevant to a lot of youth players out there, which is college recruiting, that you can speak openly about right now. So
no, absolutely. And I will tell you, I just got a DM on the Union account asking, like, knowing that I'm not with USC anymore, not with UCLA anymore, but please mentor me regardless.
That's awesome.
And
that's awesome.
And that's why we're here. Isn't that the whole point?
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. I think Jamie Campbell's joining us right here.
Hi.
The Colorado Buffalo.
I love it. Mike, between you and I, have known Jamie for so long.
I know. It's crazy. It is crazy.
What's up, lady?
Hi. How are you?
Good.
When'd you get back from your trip?
Yesterday.
Oh, okay.
Or the day before, Saturday night.
I got back this morning.
Quick then.
Yeah, it was really quick.
Just want everybody to know I got back this morning.
Yeah, we heard you on the air last night, so that definitely you flew right out right after the game, huh?
Yeah, pretty much. Yes. Well, we can tell a little secret to anybody that's listening right now. When I'm broadcasting for Bally Sport, when anybody's broadcasting, we're not actually at the stadium.
Nope.
We're actually we're actually in Florida. So although it was a home game for Angel City, I was in Florida.
Which is the best part because you're always talking about, you're like, oh, look at the weather here. The weather here is just beautiful. And just the crowd.
I got out of there before the storm.
Away.
Are you kidding me? I'm sitting here going like, people are like getting sandbags and stuff. I got to get out of here.
Oh my gosh. What's up, Morgan? Can you hear us? Morgan might have frozen. I think Morgan froze. Morgan may have frozen. I will, all right. Morgan. Or
Morgan,
she's
reboot.
very, very, very focused on doing her hair. It's one of the other. Can you hear us? Morgan? All right.
I was freezing.
You were
tell me-
you were freezing.
Did you like that?
Oh, you were freezing. Okay, you
Yeah.
were doing the thing. Well, Morgan, if you could hear us, you are oh no, she's back. Hold on. Let's see. Let's get her back here. There's 2 Morgans now. We can get rid of this Morgan, I guess. There we go. Because that was fun. Because that was Saskia was trying to do an impression of you, and it was working solid. All right, guys, let's get this going. Oh, by the way, Saskia, I can hear the union.
Yeah, I know.
screen.
I'm turning it off.
Okay.
And by the way, okay, ladies, not guys.
Okay, ladies. Did I say guys?
Yes.
Oh, I'm sorry about that. Okay. All right, you all. Here we go. Let's be very inclusive, and here we go. Welcome to Inside the 18. I'm Michael Magid, live from Hollywood, California. With me, back before the hurricane hit Florida, the one and only 99 World Cup winner, Saskia Weber. Saskia, you made it out. Unfortunately, Angel City, not the result they wanted. But congrats on the job that you guys have done. You all have done over at Bally Sports. It's been pretty awesome to hear you over there.
Yeah, I had to get out of there, but I've never witnessed a mass exodus in my life before, and I really don't think the storm's gonna hit that hard to the East Coast. But it was crazy. People were crazy.
Yeah, people definitely get crazy. And by the way, speaking of crazy, I'm hearing an echo on here, so I don't know if somebody has the show playing. Oh, over there. Nope. Can we hear it?
That's me.
That's you.
I'm trying.
Is it gone? It's all good. It's all good. We're only live. It's fine. It's totally fine. All right. Guys, dealing with these technical difficulties, despite the fact we got it done. Guys, I'm actually really excited about this today, guys, because we have a very special episode today. A lot of people here have been wanting to know a lot about college recruiting, and we're going to get into that topic in a little bit. And we thought instead of bringing on a college coach or bringing on a youth club coach or anything like that, why don't we talk to players who either have been through the process or starting to go through the process and really hear it from their perspective. So we decided to just go down the street over to LAFC Youth and grab 2 incredible goalkeepers. We have the one and only new Colorado Buffalo, Jamie Campbell. Congrats on all of that, Jamie. Back from her trip.
Thank you.
And someone who is uncommitted right now, college coaches, the one and only LAFC Youth goalkeeper, Morgan Farnham. Morgan, you're not frozen now, so that is a very solid sign.
Yes.
You guys look like sisters. It's kind of weird.
It's almost like there's a certain profile LFC Youth. Is that what you're saying? Like they're
Well, no,
looking for a certain type of person.
I'm trying to say that goalkeeping used to be in the water in New Jersey, but I think maybe it's in the water here in LA. I'm just saying.
So let's just kind of start off about that, because some people might be here like, how the heck do you know these people? You seem to have chosen these youth goalkeepers. Was it a lottery? No, we just happened to. We've actually known these goalkeepers for quite a while. So let's start off with Jamie. Jamie, how the heck do we know you? Because I feel like I've known you since you were 8 years old.
Yeah, we met a while ago at a soccer camp, I think.
Yeah. It was, I think it was over at One Soccer Schools, and I think you were like 8 years old at the time, and you loved to dive around. So just for everybody to hear this right here, Morgan, Jamie was one of these people that, like, even if she could just move her feet and catch the ball, she would just jump and just throw herself in the air. And you're like, that's when you know someone really wants to be a goalkeeper.
Yeah. I think I gave Jamie her first jump rope.
Really?
Yeah, I do.
Oh my
Get
gosh.
those
Now,
feet going.
did it work, Jamie?
Yeah, it works. I
Yeah.
still jump rope to this day.
Oh,
Yeah.
we're having a little.
So I know, Jamie, you're going to probably have to sign off and sign back in, but I will tell you that what I've seen at this point on your posts and where we came from with you jumping rope is like monumental. Like how fast your feet off, you're like boom, 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 boom. You're like double touching, you're like doing flips, you're doing everything, you're saving balls and still jumping rope. And in the back, it was like, hey, here, and you're like boom, boom, boom. I love it.
Oh my gosh. Now, Morgan, how good a jump roper are you?
I would say a pretty decent jump roper. I can do the crossover stuff and occasionally do the double, but yeah.
Okay, you're way better than me. The best jump roping I can do is when I mime the jump rope. Like I just pretend that I have a jump rope. Yeah.
Yeah, that was my COVID hobby. I would just go outside and jump rope.
Hey, listen, and the reason we're talking about to all the youth out there, goalkeeping is about fast feet. It's about balance. It's about everything. And jumping rope, and especially during COVID, it was like, how do we find ways to still train goalkeepers and get their feet going, get the rhythm going and everything? And jumping rope never goes out of style.
Yeah. Now, question. By the way, guys, feel free to step in anytime you want. You guys don't have to wait for us to ask you a question.
Yeah,
or
you can.
like
you
that,
can totally come over us. It's fine.
Yeah, exactly. Morgan. So you and Saskia have a connection. I think before we even had a connection. So how did you guys connect?
I think we met through UCLA and just going to camps, and yeah, just kind of became familiar with her, and like through alumni events too, because my mom went to UCLA for soccer. So yeah.
Yeah, and your dad.
Yes, and my dad.
Yeah, and you know what was funny, and I have to interject on this, because when I first was coaching UCLA camps, and Morgan comes out to camps, and Sam and them would talk to me, the coaches at the time, and I'm hammering Morgan. Come on. And Sam would like put her hand on my shoulder. She's like, she's 12. And I'm like, wait, what? They're like, Sask, it's okay. She's 12. And I'm like, you're kidding, right?
You thought she was like a junior, like looking at school, like looking.
Yeah, it's the same thing with Jamie. I started coaching. I was like, what is going on? Am I shrinking? Is everybody getting bigger and just a better athlete? I'm like, how is this possible?
See, and I was just thinking that it's the bios are just getting taller. Like they're just fudging the numbers so much that it's like 6'1", 6'2", 6'3".
Well, you're
What's
saying
Casey Murphy? 6'7" now? Like what is she?
Well, you know that the U.S. national team fudged my numbers. That's historic. I'm 5'10". I'm 5'10" and a half, right? So I always laugh at that because I'm like 4'8 3/4. I mean 5'8 3/4. But I always laugh.
I was going to say 4'8 3/4. The camera really adds at least a foot.
I had a great jump. No, I'm 5'8 3/4, but the national team always put me down as 5'10 and a half, and I was like, all right.
Now, Jamie, real quick for you right here. Oh, by the way, look at this comment right here coming in from Joel Ofo Kanaku, if I got that right. It says, congrats, Jamie, on all your achievements. So shout out to Joel right over there. Do you know Joel, or is Joel just a fan of yours?
Joel's my high school coach. He's my high school coach.
Oh, we're having some issues, by the way, with your microphone, by the way. So you're kind of coming in like you're underwater right now. So just giving you that heads up right now. Yeah, maybe it's maybe it's your hair. Let's see. Try again.
Can you hear me better? Yeah, maybe if Jamie like signs off, signs back in.
Yeah, and then maybe she'll have some luck with that. Yeah. Sign back off.
Okay,
sign back in. Yeah, we'll try that. Okay. All right. Okay.
Morgan, what cracks me up right now is that you have this intense stoic look all the time. And I'm like, this is the time for you to like drop it and have some fun. But you're ready to play right now. You're like, I have a game right now.
Morgan's 34. Like she's 14 going on 34. Like she's just a vet. She's like a 10-year veteran in the game. No nonsense. It has to get. But I think a lot of that, honestly, Morgan, is that you grew up in a household with two elite athlete parents, and obviously because of that, let's just say at a younger age, you kind of saw what it took to get to that level. It wasn't just a dream or your parents, having, ridiculous thoughts of what you could potentially achieve. They're like, no, this is what we did and we can show you how to do it.
Yeah, definitely. I think just in general, like growing up from a young age, I mean, you become competitive too, because you're raised, especially with my brothers and I, like we were doing family board games and there's a video of like 3-year-old me like taunting everyone because I was winning.
So what board game was it?
I think it was Sorry Sliders, which is like where you get to like knock other people's stuff out. So I was having a field day, but I think growing up in like that environment, and like I didn't start off as a soccer player. Like I was a swimmer for like the first 9 to 10 years of my life. And that was like my thing. So like I think about like my parents really just like exposed us to everything. Like they really let us grow into it. Like I remember curling up next to my parents and watching the Olympics and like seeing the swimmers and being like, that's what I want to do. And then I was serious about it and like doing like at 9 years old, I was doing like 6 days a week of swim, and it was absurd, and like waking up on Saturdays at 5 a.m. And I just like one day I remember I came into my parents and I just said, I don't want to do it anymore. And then they were like, okay. And I was like, I want to do soccer. So yeah.
And I'm going to tell you something. And Mike doesn't even know this, I don't think. I was a swimmer as well.
Wait, what?
Really?
What didn't you play?
I did everything. My parents put me in everything I wanted to do. And so 5 a.m. every day, 6 days a week, swimming. I was a backstroker and a freestylist. All state, everything.
That's what I was too.
Yeah. My brother, captain of the swim team. Like it was actually our daycare. It was like, hey, get out of the house, go to the pool. But I did the exact same thing. I got to play multiple sports and then finally looked at my parents and said, this is the one for me. I want to be a soccer player. I want to be a goalkeeper. And I know, Mike, I was recruited for college for lacrosse and everything. But my passion was soccer, and going through all those sports and cross training and everything, it made such a difference. And my parents saying, you choose, not them choosing for me.
Jamie, when did you kind of make your decision that you were going to focus, fully on goalkeeping?
Can you hear me better now?
So much better.
Okay,
we can actually understand you now, which is we just thought you had a really fun time at Colorado at Boulder this past weekend.
It's the #1 party school in the country.
Don't say that on the air.
Well, she's not going to do that. She's just going to play.
Yeah.
So I think I started becoming a goalkeeper when I was around 8, but I started playing soccer when I was 4. But I think when I was around 8, I really started to enjoy like being a keeper.
And were you playing any other sports at the time and you were just like, this is what I'm going to focus on now? Or like, was it like a little bit later, like Morgan was saying, like she was really focused on swimming and then finally made that decision that she was going to focus on soccer?
For me, it was always soccer. I don't think I played any other sports when I was little.
No, I love that though. But that's amazing difference right now.
And it shows that both ways can go.
Yeah, it shows that you can be elite in different paths. Period. You don't have to 100% focus on soccer. You can do both to be the elite goalkeepers we have in front of us right now. And I say that because you guys are.
Yeah, I mean, and that's a great segue into this right now, because when you're talking about elite goalkeepers, that's what we're talking about at the professional level and at the collegiate level. And I know a lot of people out there, are going through the recruiting process. Right now, a lot of teams are in their club seasons right here in the fall, but at least here in the Southern California area. And before high school, a lot of people are trying to get tape together and really starting to get out there for the recruiting thing. So we really want to talk about college recruiting. And again, shout out to Jamie who made her commitment, I think last year, to Colorado and did her official visit this week, where she took all the pictures with all the gear and everything.
I saw that. Just
Pointing.
I was giving little hearts.
Really solid pictures, I'm not gonna lie. Jamie, let's talk with you first, because you just kind of went through the entire process, and Morgan, you're starting it. What was kind of the first step in college recruiting for you?
For me, it was just emailing the colleges that I was interested in with like my game and showcase schedules, and highlight clips. Just like going to ID camps too, the schools that you're interested in.
I think that's absolutely key what you said, because I get asked this all the time. Like when I'm sitting on like exact camp panels and stuff like that, how do we do this? And I always tell everybody, focus on the schools you actually want to go to and go to their ID camps. Put yourself in front of these coaches, and especially in the goalkeeping position, because all these coaches, they go up and they go to the ECNL playoffs and stuff like that. And look, you're on the best ECNL team and you're the goalkeeper and you don't make a save or touch the ball once. So how are they going to judge you? So especially with goalkeepers, if you want to go to, it doesn't matter, Princeton, if you want to go to UCLA, whatever, go to their specific ID camp. Put yourself in front of them.
Yeah. Now, speaking of that, like Morgan, obviously, by the way, it just blows me. You're a 9th grader, right?
10th grader now.
Oh,
Yeah,
10th grader. 10th grader. Oh boy. Oh my God.
It's still messing me up.
I apologize for that faux pas right there. You're a grizzled old sophomore.
Yes.
So you probably started going into the ID camps probably I'm guessing around 7th grade, 8th grade. Is that when you started doing that? That's where we met Saskia?
I started early somehow. I think they start at 7th grade, but I was like always the girl that was a 6th grader there. So I started 6th grade, I think. Yeah, 6th grade.
Okay, 6th grade. Okay, 6th grade.
Yeah,
so,
but holding your own.
Okay.
Thank you.
Like,
yes.
I will go back to the fact that I was like, Sam is just like sauce. So,
wait, were you put in a group with like adults, basically, like basically they're doing the high school kids?
Well, the scary part was
I
when
was
I was
making
in
your
6th
demo.
grade. Yeah, in 6th grade, they put me in a scrimmage as a 6th grader against like the college girls. So I had like there's girls that are like in professional teams now, and I'm like they're shooting on like 6th grade me. I think I was 11.
Yeah. Again, Sask.
Yeah.
She's 11. She's 12. And I'm like, yeah, but she can handle it. I'm like, good to know. But put her in.
Jamie, I know that was actually an experience, speaking in regards to with recruiting, and sometimes it can get a little difficult because, when you were younger, I think at least the club level, sometimes you were playing up a division because they either needed a goalkeeper or because you were kind of, I don't want to say, ahead of where you were playing right there, but you needed more of a challenge. Yeah.
Yeah, I used to play up a lot because I think our older keeper got hurt a lot of the time.
Yeah, the audio again. I don't know what happened.
You sound like you're on Game of Thrones or something. It's really kind of cool. Or like, so,
yeah, maybe just maybe just take them out. Maybe just do the audio through the computer. That might be the way to go, because it might be something.
While she's doing that, I'm going to tell you, it's kind of freaking me out a little bit because she's gotten so big and like, and I know that's weird for me to say, but like, I've known both of you since you were so young, and you're like 2 adult women right now. It's freaking me out.
So Jamie, can we speak now? Let's see what happens.
Can you hear me better?
Perfect.
Yeah, way better. Okay,
Sorry.
So continue on. Okay, so playing up a division.
Yeah, I think for me, I played up a lot because our older keeper was hurt some of the time, but I think it was a really good experience to grow because I was playing with older players. It was just a much faster paced game. So yeah, it was always something I really enjoyed doing because the showcases would be like higher levels. The games would be much faster.
Yeah. Go ahead, Sis. Were you about to say something?
But I think that's how you, like, especially as a goalkeeper, it's how you have to test yourself. And I always played up upper levels, eventually trained with men, just to push that envelope. And, with both Morgan and Jamie, like, if you're not getting tested at your age group, you have to challenge yourself. Yeah. You have to step up to a higher level, see a faster paced game. And that's why they are in the position they're in.
Yeah. We got a question right here from Matthew R. Phillips. Apologize. I want to be very, very specific right here. And he goes, should youth, high school and below players play some as field players in games? What age/skill level should kids start to focus on being just a goalkeeper? And we've heard from so many coaches out there and parents on this.
Well, just ask the question.
That's what I'm saying. I want to ask players.
I would say field player was a huge part of like helping me. I was a field player until I was 12, but I was a goalkeeper at 10. So I would do half on the field, half in goal. And I would say it gives you a different perspective of the field, first of all, because you understand if I understand why I need to tell my player man on with communication is because if you've ever turned and then just been hit by a defender, you understand why it's important. And also just kind of field awareness, it's much different when you're having pressure 24/7. But I think there's not necessarily a specific time to focus on just being a keeper. You kind of got to grow into it yourself of when you kind of start realizing, hey, this is what I really, really want to commit to.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Jamie, what about you?
I think that just playing on the field when you're younger also really helps you just fall in love with soccer. Like for me, it was always really fun to play on the field. And as you get older, you develop into different positions. But I think it's really important to play on the field when you're younger because you just enjoy it. That's the most important thing.
It's funny because I think underlying is the stress that comes with goalkeeping. and the responsibility that comes with it. And I was a field player as well. Yes, Mike, I was a forward. And
of course you were. Of course. And you were probably all state as a forward too, or something. Scored 36 goals.
Well, I did, but I played half and half. But it gave me I agree with you ladies. It gave me such a perspective, seeing what from that vision, what you see as a goalkeeper, what against a goalkeeper, seeing them out of position, seeing the through ball, seeing everything. I would like to say I wasn't that analytical when I was 12, but I think it helped.
It's subconsciously you realize that stuff. So yeah.
That's a really good point. Now, speaking
of, I'll tell you one more thing, and I'll show it to you because it's in one of these boxes. Because by the way, I'm moving, but I have a national team field player jersey. I do.
Oh my God!
Because
just in case they got in an emergency situation.
That's right. I could go on the field for the U.S. national team. Hey, Mia went in goal. I could go on the field.
I played on the field for the San Fernando Quakes in the USL for a scrimmage because they were missing field players, and they said, "Why don't you just go out there and play outside mid?" And after 5 minutes, they're like, "This was the worst."
Oh my God! Outside mid. You're like, yeah. Why don't you go run a marathon, Mike?
Exactly.
You're a goalkeeper.
It was so much running, and to track back was ridiculous. I was like, I can't believe that. I had such empathy for these people. Now I'm like, from now on, I am never doing that. I am never throwing a ball out and making them chase 30 yards to go to that ball. And
I yell at Christine Lilly all the time. And she would say to me, don't you ever stop yelling at me after she made a 120-yard run. I'd be like, Lil, get back. And she'd be like, I don't have to do it.
I want to kind of move back off the tangent and kind of get back to college recruiting here because both of you have two different experiences right here. Obviously, and shout out to your parents, Jamie, because they've been obviously fantastic supporters of everything that you've wanted to do, whether it was soccer or anything else in life. but they were not, former Division I, soccer players. Morgan, you had a completely different background. Your mother played at UCLA, and your father, obviously played competitively as a basketball player at UCLA. In your words, and let's start with Morgan, because your parents, did play. How involved do you feel parents should be in the recruiting process?
I think as involved as the kid wants. I think it's kind of the kid's path, so the parents kind of need to know when to step back. I would say that like having my parents know like how to do it, and like especially my dad, like he works with high school athletes who want to like go to college too for basketball. Like so I've used that a lot for like writing, but I would say like listening to your kid is super important, because at the end of the day, it's how much they want it, not how much you want it. So if you're pushing it more than they are, something's probably not right. So I would just say listening to kids, but I would say good involvement.
I have a question before you transfer. So at a certain point, the same thing, like when you were a swimmer and everything, it's saying, I'm going to choose soccer, not they're choosing it for you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so you're a great goalkeeper. This is what you should focus on. You're saying, well, I'm a great swimmer. I'm, lacrosse, whatever. No, I'll make the decision. And they've allowed you to do that.
Yes. Yeah.
Gotcha. Jamie, what about you?
I agree with Morgan. I think that it should be ultimately up to you, but my parents were always super supportive of whatever I wanted to do, and my mom was so helpful for me. She drove me to ID camps, which I think was amazing, and she helped me with emails and just stuff like that. Just always being there for you, I think, is the most important thing.
Yeah.
Jamie, were there times that you were like, I'm not sure if I want to do this? Like the stress is too much, everything's too much. How did your parents react if you were in that place?
I don't think I've ever been in the place where I have said I don't want to do this anymore, but there's definitely been stressful times. But just again, my parents have just been so supportive of anything that I wanted to do and have like pushed me to be like a better person.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's just a really good point. I love what both of you said there in regards to like, it is really up to the individual how, because some people are real self-starters and some people are have that entrepreneurial brain where like they want to kind of build everything from scratch. And then other people, like to delegate responsibilities to other people to make a whole project work together.
You need to stop. That was a personal dig between the two of us, just so you know. The point is I like as a club coach and as a college coach, I love that I can say that and everything. I've seen both ends of the spectrum. And so I have one of the worst parts of my coaching career was I was coaching club and we're playing against another club, and it was a boys team against a boys team, and they lost, the other club. After the game, this one player, he had to be maybe 13, 12. The father had him running full field sprints over and over and over again and yelling at him. And I walked up and I said, sorry, you have to get off my field, because it was a home game. I can't. And all I thought to myself was like, this kid's never going to want to play soccer again. And I didn't grow up with a parents like that. So to hear you two that are such elite goalkeepers at your age saying, no, they gave us the choice. They allowed us to be passionate. They walked away in a sense and said, if this is what you want to do, we'll support you. That's amazing.
And I want to say one of these things too is that it's really important that a lot of players out there, and Jamie, you're a testament to this as well too, is that when you're going through this whole recruiting process, it's not like you're done. It's not like this is all, I'm just focusing on showcasing myself now. No, you're still working on getting better and becoming a better player. And now the fact that you're done with the recruiting process and have made your decision and are getting ready to go next fall, to Colorado, what do you think is like some advice that you would give to players that like they've made their commitment and it's almost like that senioritis? Like, what do I do now?
Can I ask a question before that though?
Sure.
I would like to know what this. Obviously, I'm not coaching any colleges right now, so I'm not heard about it. Right? What prompted you to make the choice to Colorado?
I think I went to an ID camp in Colorado before I committed, and just being on the campus and meeting the coaches, I had a feeling that Colorado was the perfect place for me, not just as a soccer player, but as a person also.
I'm so proud of you.
I just think everything just aligned perfectly for me.
Yeah. I mean, and I think that's so important. Now, Morgan, obviously, we don't want to. You're in the middle of the recruiting process. We don't want you to be giving away any information or whatever. I mean, you're still thick in it right now. Obviously, a lot of people have just assumed that you're going to go one direction because of some familial ties there and everything like that. Is that difficult for you sometimes because you're still not quite sure what you want to do in regards to with your life and what's going to be the best environment for you?
No, not really.
Is Sarah watching this right now? Like, you better choose UCLA.
I would say growing up as around that is definitely something where it's I'm very comfortable there. But it's also kind of like a childhood dream, if that makes sense. It's not like I'm on dead center. My parents have been very good at exposing me to other schools. It pained them when they took me on the USC tour a little bit. My favorite quote of the day was my mother said that it was too red at the school. There was too much red.
It's actually Cardinal, but it's okay.
Yeah, but I think that my parents have done a great job at exposing me to different environments, and I'm definitely not hell bent on any specific place. I'm very open to different schools, but I would say that I do have comfortability in places. Yes.
So I want to say this as
a bunch of college coaches right now just
we're red, we're red, we can color, we're blue, we're out. I'll start with Jamie, and I think that I absolutely love what you said, and coming off of being a coach at UCLA and everything, I think that you making your decision based on how you felt, your comfortability, because at the end of the day, you can't go to a school just because they're number one in the country or this or that or the other. You actually have to be happy there. You have to be there for 4 years, and you have to feel like you're comfortable and it clicks, and not everybody gets it. I think we're in kind of this weird system right now where it's a springboard to playing pro, and all you want to do is if you're with the best team and this and that and the other. But the fact that you made that decision is amazing. Now switch over to Morgan. I'm sure your mom's going to blow my phone up, and I'm sure your dad is. But I agree with you. I think that you, although USC and stuff would probably put your mom and dad in the grave, I think that the fact that they're supporting you to make other decisions and to say, hey, yes, you're a lineage at UCLA. However, go where you're happy. This is the support we're talking about. And this is what's so important about this show.
Yeah. And I think, one of the things too, is that I love the fact that both of you have brought up in regards to being happy, being in the right environment, the place that's right for you. Because I think it's important for young players out there to hear it from yourselves, as opposed to just hear it from a parent that says, oh, find a school that's right for you, that you're happy with, because I think sometimes when you hear it from a peer, or maybe Jamie or Morgan, who obviously you're a little bit younger, but maybe Jamie, when you were trying to make your decision, you talking to the players at the different schools that you went to visit and see how is it really here? I've seen all the smoke and mirrors and the fireworks, when I walk in for a recruiting trip, but what's it like on a day-to-day here?
Do they do that?
I had pyrotechnics. I don't know. I mean, they put your name up on lights. It's all sorts of crazy stuff nowadays.
Listen, I'm not patting myself on the back or anything like that, but I will tell you my story. I was #1 goalkeeper in the country when I was recruited. And so it was UNC. It was, this, that, the other. Back then, there was no UCLA. That's how old I am. And although I would have probably gone, but I chose Rutgers. And now obviously Rutgers is number 2 in the country and stuff. But back then we were barely scratching 20 and everything, but it was the right fit for me. And I felt at home there. And I felt that it was the right place, regardless of where I was being recruited. And I made that decision based on that. No. And I did, and so, obviously my career succeeded from there, but because I was happy. So I want to move on to this right now. I want to move on to something kind of fun. We like to break down tape on this show, as all know. But we're going to look at it more from the perspective of like what type of information, what type of clips should you be showing to college coaches as opposed to just showing your amazing highlights together. Hold on. There is a very important question before we get to that in there from a big fan. and it's Sarah Farnham, who may or may not be related to Morgan. Sarah, I love you right now. That's
oh
amazing.
My God. And she goes, how has training together helped you both in development? So Morgan, do you want to talk about working with grizzled veterans like Jamie Campbell?
JC.
Jamie, you're a veteran.
Yeah.
I guess I am.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Well, Jamie and I met when I was like 9.
Yeah, we met at a
UCLA
UCLA camp.
Yeah.
No way.
I think I wasn't there when you guys were 9.
Well, yeah, I feel like Jamie has kind of always been like a role model to me in a certain way, because like when I was like starting goalkeeping at Real SoCal at the time, now LAFC, I remember AB would come and he would be like pointing out Jamie to me and being like, that's what you want to be like, look at Jamie, like she's an older keeper, like she's like the best in the club, like stuff like that. So I think kind of Jamie's always been like someone that I like look up to and like respect. So I think training with her has always been like a great experience.
Oh,
Do you
Morgan.
feel that? No, I'll let you have your bougie moment. Go ahead.
I also have always like respected Morgan and honestly looked up to her too, because even though she's younger than me, like there's still like a lot I can learn from Morgan because she is so good. We met at UCLA ID camp and she like surprised me because at such a young age she was so good, and she challenged me honestly at those camps because she was so good.
Did you think she was older when you first met her?
Yeah, because she's always been so tall. So
I was 5 feet tall at 9 years old. I was looking at my mom's like chart. At 9 years old, I was 5 feet tall. My little brother's 11 and he's just hitting 5 feet.
Morgan, you walked up to me at the spring game, UCLA, USC, and I was like, hi, my name's Saskia. I haven't met you before. Like, what are you, 6'1" right now? I don't even know. I think your parents have to like build the shower higher or something like that. But I love this because I'm going to tell you something. I never had this. I never had this growing up in a club environment. It was few and far between. So like, unless you got onto the national team, you got into ODP and stuff, like I never had that person right by my side in club that was pushing me or who I looked up to or who I wanted to excel with. That'll only make you better keepers.
Okay. So what we're going to do, I've just changed it. I'm going to pivot it. We are going to be looking at what coaches are going to be wanting to see from recruiting tape, but you're also going to get to break down each other in the tapes. So Morgan, you'll do Jamie, and Jamie, you'll do Morgan.
And then Mike and I will correct you both.
So we're going to start off right here. We're going to start off with Jamie right over here. And this first clip right here, I think what's happening is like a ball was played over the top. Jamie, you call off your teammates to get the ball. I love the hand gesture immediately already. Like, hey, I got this. I'm under control. I know what I'm going to do right here. You recognize where to play that ball. Very simple right there into the space. Then the ball is received back to you here. This is what I love. Okay. So you see the chase coming, those two players right there. And as those players are coming, you see that there's an open gap right here. So you split the gap and play the ball through to this player right here. Wide open space. And now you got a counter. That's next level goalkeeping, in my opinion. Morgan, critique it.
Yes. Oh, critique?
Well, you can say positive
Well,
things or
can
negative.
Okay.
can I make one funny statement? Is that a
Sure.
shorter goal?
The goals in Arizona were weird. That's an Arizona
because
thing.
either you guys are 7 feet tall or that's a short goal.
Oh, yeah.
No, I think it was regulation, but they were weird.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay.
I
So-
like the nonverbal communication, and I'm sure you're also using verbal communication, but that was something that I've heard from a lot of coaches that is really important, because if you have crowds and screaming, it's kind of hard for your defenders to tell what you're saying. And then the quick look and also first touch is really good because it's less time consuming. And
I think we're gonna lose. We're not gonna be able to host a podcast anymore right now.
No, I think they're going to be able to do it. I also
this is
want to
just our
point out.
practice.
No, but I want to point this out too, Jamie. You know, the shielding right here. I think a lot of young goalkeepers, they open themselves up to the field as opposed to close off to that player that's chasing right there. And you immediately recognize that chase and shield to play that ball. How many times, Jamie, have you seen young goalkeepers and they're open to the field and then they try to play that ball and then that player picks it off?
Yeah.
I think what I love about this is your positioning.
Mm-hmm.
I think that a lot of younger goalkeepers would probably be inside their box, maybe deeper. They tend to like get scared and hug their line. If you're not in the position you're in, this turns into a debacle. This turns into you're not getting there. There's maybe a breakaway. This turns into a total debacle. But your positioning is on point and confident.
Yeah, and then look at this. So when the ball's played back right here, and again, like I said, you see the chase of the two split players. Jamie, did you scan earlier and recognize that there was that open player on the outside channel, and you're like, that's why I'm going to play that ball. That's where I'm going to play that ball.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I scanned, and my team is really good about opening up for the wide spaces. So I just looked up really quick and saw that.
Yeah.
Hey, Jamie, nice long ball.
Was that an issue? Was it not an issue for a while?
She's been working on everything, and I'm so impressed with her. But I think I'm going to add one more thing to this.
Okay.
Your presence. The confidence and presence at which you receive these balls. So when you get these balls back, nobody's stressed out. Nobody's worried. It's not like, you have goalkeepers that you're like, oh my God, the goalkeeper has the ball at their feet. The confidence it resonates through your team. Well done.
Thank you.
All right, Morgan, we're going to move on to you right here. So this clip, you're showing for the ball at the near post right there. And I like your position again, hand gesture, that nonverbal communication right there. Here's what I love about that is you recognize where the chase is coming from, where the pressure is coming from, and see that the direct ball is the most open space for you. And you play this ball forward right here to this play. That is that freshman year you did that? What?
Yeah, I think so.
Let's let Jamie critique.
Okay. All right.
I'm putting my glasses on.
What do you see right here, Jamie?
Okay. I see that she's preparing to take a touch into the open space rather than back towards the pressure, which I think is really good. Like, I love that touch in the space. And then she looks up really quick to see her options and then probably sees the long one and decides that's best. Because there's also pressure coming in from the other side to her other center back. So I think that's a really good ball. Like, that's really impressive.
Yeah. And, Jamie, I think you're right on point because we have a lot of young keepers that are listening and out there right now that if you don't get that touch right, then you have to take 2 touches to make the service, right? Yeah. So you want to make sure you're always opening up and that first touch sets you up for a service or a pass. Now, I will tell you, that is some serious confidence right there. Sending a ball right up the middle, but you're on point.
That was, I think my coach was a little nervous about that one.
But to be fair, Morgan, I think this is one of those things, when you're talking about, goalkeeper IQ and exploring and recognizing, what what can you do and what can't you do? That's the whole idea of youth soccer. The whole idea of youth soccer is to work on these elements so that once you get to the collegiate level, you know, you have these tools in your trade box. And I think, you know, a lot of times we'll have NWSL players here or MLS players or whatever, and people see the type of service that they're giving and they're like, oh man, they're like, you know, that's a risky ball or whatever. Like, you don't understand how many reps they did where they failed at that, you know, or were successful before they finally became a type of thing. I love the scanning here. And again, I think college coaches see this and they recognize the fact that, like, oh, this player is willing to make that play if it's on.
And there's a certain level of confidence.
Mm-hmm.
So even if this goes wrong for you, it's a learning experience. But I think I agree. I so much agree with Jamie right now. I think that the way you opened yourself up and set yourself up to serve this ball, that it was going to be on point. It wasn't rushed. It wasn't too tight of a touch or anything. You had control.
Yeah.
And I want to say this too, for anybody who's watching right here who are young players who are going through the recruiting process, the reason we've chosen a lot of these clips right here, if you're recognizing a lot of you in your college recruiting tapes, and I'm just going to be straight up honest with you, are showing final actions that really everyone in the world can do. Like, I'm not, no disrespect, any halfway decent athlete can make a save. Like, these are the actual moments that college coaches are looking at and going, can they play the game? Can they play within our system? Do they understand their starting position? Do they understand how to move, how to track, all those sorts of things? So really looking at that stuff. With that
no,
Mike,
Mike, you're right on point, because I've seen thousands of recruiting tapes, and two of my biggest issues is it's just the final action. You're not showing me the build up to what's going on, so I can't assess how you're reassessing the play, how you're moving, how you're readjusting. And then this is my other big thing. It's too far away. Like, I got a parent up in the far stands, and I'm like trying to like touch my screen, which isn't a touch screen, to open it up and see. That's my joke on that one.
Oh my gosh. All right, I want to move on to this corner right here. So this is an in-swinging kick. Top of the sixth, it's a header. And as we see when this ball comes in, I know it's a little bit far away. No disrespect to whoever shot this after Saskia said that. But the header's hit here. A lot of goalkeepers panic here. What does Jamie do? Nope. Simple, clean hold right there. And then tells her team to clear out. But do you see just the poise and the presence right there? I want a lot of young goalkeepers to see that. This is the type of stuff college coaches
I want to hear what Morgan sees.
Okay.
This is like you're in class. This is like
I know. Go ahead, Morgan.
I think her starting position is really good, and then she takes a step forward and repositions. Once she realizes that it's going to be a shot, she gets back on her line. So she gives herself more time and like time to read the ball, and then she immediately uses like verbal and nonverbal and makes space for herself.
Go ahead.
I'm so
Jamie, what'd you see? You were the one in the play.
I saw that the ball wasn't close enough for me to come out and like get to, so I opened up my body and set rather than keep moving, and then so I was able to make the save.
You know, Mike, I talk about this a lot. So when you see it with younger players, look, I'm pointing at the screen like you guys can see it.
Yeah.
You see a lot of younger players will first take themselves out of their position by coming too far, like making that first step near post. It's a goalkeeper error across the board. But the fact that you drop, reposition, get yourself square and set for whatever comes in, you know you're not coming for the ball. So what do? A lot of goalkeepers will see, oh, I wanted to come for it, I didn't. What do I always say? Don't follow one mistake by another. I'm not saying you could come for this ball, but what I'm saying is don't get weighed in on the fact that you didn't come for the ball. Reposition yourself, get yourself ready for the shot. Perfect.
Yep.
Absolutely. Morgan, good analysis.
And I want to say this too, right here. Jamie, does that hit the crossbar slightly, or did
I
you
don't
just hold
think
on to
so.
it clean? Okay, so you just held that on clean. Well, one of the reasons that you held on that ball clean as opposed to hitting the crossbar is because despite the fact that you dropped to create depth, you didn't drop inside your goal. And how many young goalkeepers do you see, Saskia, drop inside the goal?
I have never taught that to anybody in my life, to drop inside the goal. Yeah. Like, you're putting yourself in a very strange position. You have the crossbar, the side post. You have everything around you, and you're inside your goal.
Mhm.
You know,
especially in a corner, because that's a lot of just reaction. Like there's like if you do a kick save and it's a parallel one, then you're not gonna it's going in the goal.
Exactly.
Yeah. And then
Mike, do you drop inside your goal?
No, but what I'm saying is I have seen a lot of young goalkeepers don't
I know,
recognize
I'm
the
teasing
fact that
you.
if they don't keep their power shoulder positive in front of post, they are going to be negative into the goal. So now they're literally going against the ball as opposed to being in front and being able to hold on to that ball or just tip it over, especially young goalkeepers, like foundational goalkeepers. And I'm sure you remember this when you were little ones. Jamie would just jump and grab the ball. She loved jumping. But,
I was never little.
all right, let's move on. Let's move on to Morgan right here after Jamie's just so calm with her presence.
I love the presence. Both of you. See, I love the presence. It means
and
so
controlling
much
the tempo. Controlling the tempo of the game. You know, you dictate the tempo of the game and you decide whether we're going to play fast or whether we're going to play slow. And there you go. You're like, yeah, you know what? We're good. Okay. So this is a free kick, I believe, Morgan, from deep out that's played into you right here. Now, this is when Saskia always says, don't follow one mistake with another mistake. I think you probably recognize that you're a little late for this ball. And rather than panicking, you kind of read this bounce and then you come up and challenge the ball and win it.
Mm-hmm.
And then because of how many players are inside that box right there,
go with it.
Look at this throw. Hello, right in front. Now we got
one bounce to midfield. Love it.
Love it.
Liz, look, I'm going to let you guys talk, but I'm going to tell you something now. The lost art of throwing, it boggles my mind. And this is amazing that you said, hey, my best position right now is to actually throw this ball, one hop it. We have so many keepers that try to do a side volley here, try to do a drop kick or something like that. It's not what's called for. You have more control and direction. Look at that. That is what I would have done. I love it. Okay, so Jamie, go ahead.
I think maybe in the beginning, Morgan could have been a little higher off her line to start with. So maybe before the bounce happened, she could have gotten there. But I think she does a really good job reading the bounce, like you said. And then she beats like a lot of players in the box and finds her outside player, which was really good.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think that, Morgan, I think if you could have been a little bit higher right there, you wouldn't have gotten caught in that scenario. And I think that the reason that you're probably so deep is because it was such a far-driven ball. Mm-hmm. And so, you know, you probably thought it was going to be, I mean, that, you know, she played that ball that's a pretty good ball.
I think the main reason why is if you look at one of the players, it's kind of hard to see, but she's like near the PK spot right now. Mm-hmm. She's like taller than me. She's like 6'3". So I think if I remember correctly, I dropped off for a header because I knew that she would beat me to the ball if I was up that high. She's right next to that blonde center back. She was so tall.
But you know what? I love that you can say that. I love that you're not just like, oh, I'm just hanging on my line. You're like, you know, I'm identifying that if they loop this ball into the penalty spot, this is a tough ball for me. It's a tough ball for any keeper to come for.
Like, this is a dangerous ball, in my opinion.
Like any keeper, even in the NWSL, to come for. But if you're going up against somebody that's 6'1", and you're like, you know, she could possibly beat me, why don't I just take a step back and just see what happens? Because technically, it's not a dangerous ball. Like, I mean, look at it. If she gets a header on this and you've come for it, then she can beat you. If she gets a header on this looping ball and you've dropped back into position, you're just going to walk over and pick that ball up. There's no threat here. So really good thought process.
Yeah, actually, I didn't even think about that. You're right. But I also want to talk about, just kind of like, before we go on to this next clip right here, manipulation, because I think, you know, we need to understand as goalkeepers that based on our movements, based on our starting positions, manipulates what type of ball is going to be served in. So we need to recognize, okay, if we play deeper, we're baiting them to play a ball into that hole right there. If we're staying higher, you know, they're probably going to make a different decision. So, you know?
Yeah, you have to look at Casey Murphy. Okay, look at her starting position on free kicks. Casey Murphy's starting position is so much higher than any goalkeeper in the NWSL. She's also 6, going on 6'2". She's like Shat. I call her Shat. But that's all you see. So if you're the server and she's owning that space, all of a sudden your service is going to be dictated by her positioning, her presence, and everything. And now that ball that against a different keeper would have been like maybe driven into the top of the PK or something. Now it's a lofted ball at the top of the 18. So with both of you, you have the ability to do that, dictate that area.
Yeah. I want to move on to this clip right here after we see this one more time and it plays through. I just want to see this throw because it's, again, such a lost start, and I just love seeing people throw the ball.
I love it.
So let's move on to something that's also very, very important, especially in today's game, Jamie, and that is the negative movement. And you're really, really good at this. I think what happens here is there's like a mistimed header, which kind of drops to this player right over here, out on the wing. Basically what happens is you're starting high and you just start moving, as Saskia likes to say, micro movements across, just following that ball, shifting, recognizing where the chase is from your player, which means that you don't have to be standing on your near post, exposing the back post for her to slot that ball. You can be a little bit deeper, and it's just a simple collapse dive because of your positioning.
Morgan, what do you think?
Here, sorry, I'll start the breakdown from the start. Yeah.
Just play in regular time, Mike.
Okay.
I think it's good that Jamie's tracking and kind of realizing that the girl's dropping in. And yeah, she makes a nice shift. Like, she doesn't try to like do anything too much with her feet. And she just makes the safe play of like just an easy collapse dive.
And Jamie, your thoughts?
I think I recognized that my defenders were really close on her. So it wasn't a play where I should come out for it and like a 1v1. So I just like kind of dropped off and got set and ready for the shot because my defenders were handling it up to the point of the shot.
Absolutely A+ answer. 100%. Because there are times as a goalkeeper that you have to realize that your defenders are tracking back and you have to actually take a passive stance. You have to say, you know what, this is kind of far out. And if I come, I'm the forward's baiting me because she's going to shoot. Right. So if I allow her to pull myself, but if I kind of like hang for a second, I think my defenders are going to track back and put the pressure on her. And now she's going to force a shot. So 100%, this is the exact right time to say, I'm going to be passive. I'm going to wait, let my defenders get back, let them force her into a bad angle. And I'm just going to watch my angles. So excellent answer.
I absolutely love that, Jamie, because I didn't even recognize that until you pointed it out. But you're absolutely right. A lot of young goalkeepers would come out and try to cover that space right there, opening up that gap for either her to slot the ball across to that other woman over there, or to shoot it herself into the space right there. That's so, man, I'm learning.
Yeah, Mike, we talk about this all the time. I'm like, there are times that you have to allow for that. Like Michelle Akers told us about this on the podcast. She's like, I know that I have people breathing down my neck. So if you come rushing, that's what I want you to do. You're making my decision easy for me. I'm going to slot the ball by you, right? But if you kind of hold, I'm like, oh my God, what do I do? This is not my words. This is Michelle Akers' words. So what do I do? Because now I have defense breathing down my neck and I got to make a quick decision and you've held strong. So this is an exact example of that.
Morgan, anything else you want to add to that?
No, I think we've covered pretty much. I mean, that was all good answers.
Listen, you guys, we'll fluff you up. You'll be ready to play tonight.
Yeah. They're like, we just need to get this before every game. Feel amazing.
Hey, just call us. We're good.
All right. And then obviously there's the counter ball. Okay. So let's move on to Morgan right here. I think what happens here is this is a midfield ball that slipped through right here. This is a really dangerous ball, in my opinion, because if this player misses the ball, which is what happens right there, and you can see she's not very happy about that. She's very, very disappointed on that. but you're clearly aware, Morgan, of what's going on, and you just come out patiently, ask just, hey, shield, let me take the ball. And because of that, you recognize, oh my gosh, look at this one player who's literally wide open, and you bowl another lost art, the bowl out there, because that's a bowl with purpose. And there's so many young people that just play a bowl, that play that square ball that doesn't do anything. But you're like, there's a wide open player that I could just bowl the ball to. I don't have to throw it there, because there's no obstruction whatsoever. And now, well, now she decides to play it negative, but that's not on you. That's Jamie, what do you see?
I think Morgan does a really good job telling her player confidently just to leave it, and she comes out for it. Yeah, I think it's just like her players trust her to get that ball, and she just like portrays the confidence and then looks up immediately to see the next play, which I think is really good.
Yeah, and plays that boom. So Morgan, what were your thoughts there? Was that just instinctual, or was that like a calculated thing because you knew that player was wide open?
I mean, if I play the ball to a player, it's usually calculated. But do you mean like looking up, immediately?
As in had you known before where she was?
I think, well, kind of. I knew that she was in that area, and I also knew where like the pressure was. So I knew that was kind of open because, this was last week, I think. But yeah, so I think I just kind of like knew where the pressure was. And they had been leaving that side open kind of quite a bit because that player was coming from that side. They were really heavy pressing the middle. So I knew that it would likely be over there.
Yeah, and one thing I like too here is that you just stayed on your feet and just collected the ball. I can't tell you how many times I've seen a young player panic and they just go down, and then that player just like lifts the ball right over them. You're like, you know what? Nope, shielder, I got it. Let me take it.
No, I think what we see in a lot of young players is the lack of decision making. Okay. And I think we'll see a lot of young players get into this and go, are you playing the ball back to me? Am I coming to get it? Are you playing, but what are we doing? No communication, this, that, the other. And making a solid decision saying keeper and coming through and taking control. We see a lot of keepers that end up, and this is like a little pile up. You know what I mean? Yeah. A lot of young keepers, because they're not confident in making the call. You're obviously confident in making the call.
Or Jamie, like, when you were a younger player, I'm not saying you, but when you were a younger player and you saw other young goalkeepers, how many times was the field player yelling at this goalkeeper to do something and then they panic?
Oh, I will tell you right now, and as a head coach, which I've never been, you can always say, don't anybody call keeper for me. Right? Just like I'm not going to tell you to shoot. Don't call keeper. It's my decision. I hate that. It's one of my biggest pet peeves. Even when coaches do it. Amanda or somebody would be sitting on the bench and be like, keeper, Lauren. I'd be like, don't make the call for her because you're affecting the defense and everybody like that. Let her make the call.
Jamie, ever been in that situation?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's like, it should be up to you what decision you make. So. Yeah.
Well, you also see the whole field.
Right. Mm-hmm. And you're like playing the game rather than someone who's not playing the game.
Yeah. Well, guys, I appreciate you guys taking all this time. I think.
Oh no.
Yeah. I mean, it's already been about an hour or so. We don't want to keep them. They're still in school. They still need to do homework and projects and all sorts of stuff. All sorts of stuff to do. Go ahead, Sept.
I want a couple closing questions.
Sure.
Jamie, what are your thoughts going to Colorado, a huge school, a great program and everything. What are you worried about? What are your thoughts? What can we talk to you about? What are you thinking?
I'm overall just really, really excited to be there and to play with some of the best competition in women's soccer. I'm super excited to get that opportunity and play against like the best players in the country. Obviously there's going to be nerves, but I'm feeling really excited overall.
Right. And you have to be able to play in snow. So you got to deal with that. No,
get the orange ball out.
Because what you want is to go into your college career. Like, yes, there's going to be nerves and stuff, but you want to be passionate and love where you're at. And
Right.
you do. And you're going to excel. You're going to be amazing. And I have no doubt about that.
Thank
So now, Morgan, when you think about this process that Jamie's already gone through and stuff like that, like, what are your fears? What are you thinking about?
I mean, goalkeeping is a very like exclusive position. So I think like having spots on teams, even if you're good enough to make a spot, like they might not need a keeper that year, where like they'll always need a center back from a year. They'll always need like a striker. Like goalkeeping is very exclusive. So I mean, there is kind of some nerves if it's like, oh, what if a school I want to go to like doesn't need a goalkeeper that year. But I think overall I'm very excited for the process more than nervous. So yeah.
So I'm going to answer that question for you. We're going to take a very good example. I'm sure your mom's going to be excited about this. We're going to talk about UCLA for a second. All right. So you have Lauren, who came back for her COVID year and everything like that, doing her master's, but you have Niku, who came into UCLA. And the nerves could have been there for Lauren going, well, I have the under, 20, 23 national team keeper, Niku, who was number 1 recruited in the country. And, what's going on here? But Marg and everybody like said, no, Nico, you're gonna take a back seat and you're gonna learn because it's gonna make you a better goalkeeper. Mm-hmm. And so it's very rare. Well, it is. Well, at the level that you two play at, it's rare that a goalkeeper comes in and just starts their freshman year, right? But if you do, remember, it is a learning experience. You have to get caught up to the pace. You have to learn the team. You have to do everything. Plus, you're in school. Plus, you're away from home. There's a lot of factors in that. And so, you two are the elite of the elite in this country right now that, are going to have a huge future. But keep in mind that you're always going to learn. I'm still learning every day. Like, I still I'm like, wait, the player can't pass the ball back and I can't pick it up. Like I'm still learning new rules. So that's a joke that you're too young to understand, but I'm sure your parents are laughing about that one. So as long as you go in with that mindset that, yeah, it's okay. Let me take this time. Let me get the pace. Let me learn. Let me play against players. Your time will come. It will.
Yeah.
Jamie, it absolutely will. I know that I'm going to be seeing you on the field. And Morgan, same. And yes, Sean and Sarah, it quite possibly might be for UCLA, but if it isn't, you're going to be great.
Oh boy. Well, I think this is a wonderful place to wrap this up, guys. You all, you girls. I don't know what Saskia wanted me to say. Women, you young women. Before I get canceled, guys.
Mike, basically, you come up to about here on both of them. And they could crush you in a second. I love you, Mike. But I look at these keepers and how I've watched both of them grow and train. I was never as good as they are at their age, ever.
Wow. Well, hold on. There's a new comment that just came through right here. And here
is it a mom?
OB from OB. Go Jamie. From Go Jamie from OB. Which I believe is a club in Denmark. So I'm assuming that the entire club in Denmark is doing that right there. Guys, see, that's the thing. It's subconscious in me. It is subconscious in me because it is ingrained. Anyway, that's a whole other conversation. Okay, you all, if people want to connect with you, I don't even know what the rules are anymore with NCAA and all sorts of stuff.
But there are none. But...
okay. Apparently you can do whatever you want now. But if there's young players out there that want to connect with you too, where's the best place for them to connect with you?
Hey, wait, why don't we do this?
Okay.
Both of you are on the union, right? So both of you on the union, if young players want to connect with them, let's send them to the union, let them connect and DM them on the union and keep it simple.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll do that, guys. We will do that, people. We will do that, people. I am having trouble here. I'm not gonna lie, because I never even realized how much I said it until today. Okay, well, if anybody wants to reach out over on that lovely platform, it is right here. You can check out the free Union Soccer community on all platforms. That is a smart link that sends you. It's fully interactive there. Share your own content. Subscribe today. What is your? Do you all know your handles on the Union then?
I think it's just Morgan Farnham.
Okay. And Jamie?
I'm not sure, but it's probably my name also.
Yeah, it's just yeah, it is.
This is Jamie Campbell. And if you all want to reach out to us, contact at insidethe18media.com or at Goalkeeper Podcast on all social media platforms. Actually, on the Union, just at Goalkeeper Podcast on the Union. Send the DMs over there. Saskia Weber, at Saskia Weber on the Union. If you want to reach out to me directly about non-soccer things, it's Michael Magid Comedy or at Michael Magid. But on the Union, it's at Michael Magid for soccer-related things. I will get better and better at this. Go ahead,
All right, and one more thing, because you're so tongue-tied right now in the presence of greatness.
I am. I'm flustered.
Hey,
I'm flustered.
This is our first youth show. I don't even want to call you youth, but this is our first show, and I'm so glad we had you two on, because it really sets a precedence. Any young players listening out there, sign up on the Union, send your videos and everything like that, because we're going to keep doing these, and we're going to highlight more players from around the world, and that's the way to get on this. I'm so excited that you guys were our first. I couldn't have picked it any better.
And that is a thing too, because people have been reaching out on Instagram. Shout out to everybody who's on the Union goalkeeping on Instagram. But when people reach out and they send their clips and everything, we say, hey, you join the Union, join the actual app, because we're featuring people who are engaging on the app. If you're in the conversations, if you're engaging, if you're sharing with other people and the other people are learning from you, then we're going to feature you. But we're not just going to be showing, again, the final action of some young player just because they DM'd us. You have to be bringing something back to the table to the entire goalkeeping community.
Hey, Jamie, is your mom watching?
Yeah, she is.
Hey, I'm sending tons of love and strength. Love you guys.
Thank you.
You got it. And Sarah, I know your mom's watching too, because she said we're texting. Morgan. I know. I'm
well, shout out to both the Campbell clan and the Farnham clan right over there. That is all the time on Inside the 18, and we are out. Later, you all.